everyone to session 2 of the Beginner Python Study Group. Today is session 2 and we'll be going over Python libraries. My name is Rashika Singh, and along with both Stephanie and Karen, my wonderful teammates, we've put together this series for all of you. I'll be moderating today's session and just going over a few introductory things, and then I'll pass it over to Karen, who will be going over some of the conceptual things as well as a live coding session. So before we begin, just to give brief intros to the team. So as I said, my name is Rashika Singh, and I'm a lead for Women Who Code Python.
And I'm Karen. I am a volunteer in Women Who Code Python, and I will be the instructor for today.
Hi, I'm Stephanie, and I'm an evangelist for Women Who Code Python.
All right, wonderful. Thanks, Karen and Stephanie. And so before we get into today's material, I'm just going to go over some introductory slides about Women Who Code. So our mission is inspiring women to excel in technology careers. Our vision is a world where women are represented as technical executives, founders, VCs, board members, and software engineers. And our target audience are engineers with 2 or more years of experience looking for support as well as resources to strengthen their influence and level up in their careers. And lastly, we take our code of conduct very seriously. Women Who Code is an inclusive community dedicated to providing an empowering experience. And you can read the full version as well as access the incident report form at that link below. Our events, including this one, are intended to inspire women to excel in technology careers, and anyone who is interested is more than welcome to participate and enjoy the material that's shared. And just some more information about Women Who Code. We have 230,000 members, 70 networks in 20 countries, over 10,000 events, daily conference tickets in over $1,000, scholarships worth around $2 million, as well as access to jobs and resources and infinite connections. And our movement is, as the world changes, we can be a connecting force that creates a sense of belonging while the world is being asked to isolate. And so to go over today's agenda, I will begin with doing a quick recap of the intro to Collab. This was something that I covered back in session 1. I'm just going to go through sort of this demo Collab Notebook, just to remind everyone of kind of how to work in Collab Notebook and running through the different cells. And then I'll pass it over to Karen. She will be going over an introduction to Python libraries. Then we'll go over pip install, how to use Python libraries, and then a mini exercise. And this will all be done live. So we want everyone to get out their laptops and follow along as we do all of this and just learn together. All right, so from here, I'm going to switch over to the Collab Notebook. So this was the same one that was shared a bit early in the first session. So I'm actually going to go over 2 different notebooks. There was an FAQ that was shared. So there's a couple of resources included in that, and I'm going to go over both of those just as a really quick overview. So this is what Collab Notebook looks like, and Karen will be walking through how to actually load this notebook on your own system. I'm just going to go over kind of what Collab looks like. So this is kind of what a text cell looks like. This is what a code cell looks like. To run this cell, you can simply just press the play button, or you can also press Command Enter or Control Enter, depending on if you have a Mac or a Windows. And just to go over some basics, you can basically reuse previous statements from previous cells. And then, Collab Notebook can be used in a lot of applications like data science and machine learning. And then to go a little bit deeper into code cells, so as I said, you can click the play icon or press Command or Control Enter to actually run the cell. And then you can also add new cells by pressing either +code or +text. And today, and for the rest of the sessions, we'll be working with Python. And so that's kind of just a brief overview of Collab. And now let me pass it over to Karen, and she's going to show you how to actually load the notebook from GitHub onto your own system, and then we'll carry on with the rest of the content.
Okay, thanks, Rishika, for introduction, and welcome everyone. I hope you guys are ready for the first section. I promise it's not gonna be heavy coding, so I hope you guys enjoy. So as Rishika introduced, we're gonna be using Collab, Google Collab today, and also for the rest of the sections. So I'm gonna show you how to download the Collab notebook from our GitHub. At the GitHub repository. So I'm gonna share my screen. So as you can see, we are on the GitHub link. We're on the Women Who Code Python GitHub link. So all you have to do is to go down, click the Beginner Python study group, and you will get to the beginner series repository, and we will be posting all the informations here. So as you can see under section materials, we have today's slides available and also the Collab notebook. So all you have to do is to click the link, and it will open to the Collab notebook. And then you should wait a bit. So, and then afterwards, in order to edit the notebook, you have to go to File, Save, Copy, and Drive. So that way, it's gonna save the Collab notebook into your Google Drive. So, and then like you can edit it at the same time. So, is everyone okay with that? Any questions so far? Okay. So let me go ahead. Let me see, sorry. Okay, so I'm gonna do, like I said, I'm gonna do something very relatively light today, so which is very fundamental, and yet it's actually very important to understand the concept, which is Python libraries. So Python libraries is it's literally a library that you go to, you always go, you have been to when you study. It's literally a collection of books, collection of like knowledge and information that you can use it all the time. In the programming sense, Python library is like a collection of functions or packages that you can use that like the previous developers wrote for you. So you can just, instead of writing it from scratch, like writing a procedure from scratch, you can just use it, plug in the function and use it like by inputting a parameter, and then you can save a lot of time to write a lot of code, which is why I want to introduce it right now, because honestly, today's library, especially in Python, is very well developed. So you really, as long as you understand there are libraries out there or there are functions out there, majority of the functions you don't really have to like code it yourself. Plus, the better understanding how the notebook works, the better understanding how a library function works, the more comfortable we use it, especially if you're beginning of Python. Okay, so today we're gonna go only do two things. We're gonna talk about how to install a library and how to use a library. Sounds simple enough? Hope so. Okay, so how to install a library. So the reason I put the title pip install was because it's such a common term. It's such a common term for Python developers to indicate this is basically a Python library installation. So pip is like if you're coming from if you learn another programming language like JavaScript before, it's basically an NPM for JavaScript, which is also a package manager as well. So to do that, the code is that like the command line is very simple. It's literally just pip install and library name. And then to do that, we can actually try this. Is everyone ready? Any other question before I start? doing before I start coding with you guys together. Like I said, we encourage everyone to code along with us together. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. It's better to practice it now if you have time, if you're available, then like practice it later because we always forget. Okay, so how to get this Collab Notebook? So you go to the GitHub section. Stephanie, would you mind posting the GitHub link again for our attendee to access the Collab Notebook? So under the GitHub Notebook, under the GitHub repo, you will find under the session material, you will find the session to the Collab Notebook. And if you have any questions, let us know. Okay, so we're gonna try. So to install, like I said, like you can basically just copy and paste this this sentence here. So pip install pandas. So you can read the comments. So this is the instruction. So install library pandas. So we're gonna do pip install pandas. So in case you don't know pandas, panda is one of the most popular libraries for data analytics and data processing. So if you ever come across this, you will use pandas a lot of time. And when panda is like one of the most in demand like libraries that you always use to process all the data. So you can, so after you type this, so basically the difference is like the pip install is actually not a Python code, which I'll be explaining later, and you will understand a little better afterwards. So in order to tell the computer, in order to tell the Collab Notebook this is not a Python code, you have to put exclamation mark in the front. So the whole sentence is exclamation mark pip install pandas. So afterward you can run. And it's loading. Just give it some time. Yes, it's installed. So, and then it says like requirement or they satisfied. That's only because Google Colab, one of the very good benefit about Google Colab is like there are a lot of like popular packages or libraries already pre-installed in the Collab. So they're like, if you use like a Numpy using like popular libraries, you mostly don't have to install them. But I'm just gonna show you guys like how to do it here. Okay, so we're gonna go to the second one. So install library called difflib. Difflib is one of the library I used in the previous project. It's actually little related to NLP. Is basically to compare between two sentences, like find the difference between two sentences or a sequence. So if you come across, if you want to use, like if you are going to natural language processing, and like you have to do data processing for that, the pre-processing for that, and you might be come across this library. Okay, so we're gonna do like the same like the last one. We're gonna do pip install difflib and hit run. And then you'll see, and you see, there was no library called like this. Why? You know what to do here? All you have to do is go to Google. Google is always your best friend. I'll explain a little. So the reason, so you go to google.ca or google.com, whatever it is, and to type difflib install. So the reason why the library difflib is different and then has a different name than it writes and it like when it installs is because when the author of the library created packages, it actually created with a different like a different name because like it's like you can call it like a different names, and you can call it like when it's the original package. It might be changed, it might be renamed over the time. So you have to be careful. So whenever you know there's a library there and you wanted to, and then like you don't know like the correct name to install it, and when like the code tells you that you're wrong, the package cannot be found, you just have to go to Google and find it. Most of the time it will show up. So the website we're looking for is pypi.org. Like I said, pip is like a package manager, and pip get all the packages installation from this website, pypi. So all we have to do is to go to, okay, so all you have to do is to copy cdevlib, and then go back to the Collab Notebook, and then type cdevlib, and then you will be installing. Voila. Any questions so far? Okay. Okay, Jiyoung was asking how to put an exclamation mark in front of, well, why do we have to add? Okay, so if you refer to the Collab FAQ, which Shikha was introducing on which is also on our GitHub repo, you will see the introduction of why the Collab, how Collab works, and one of the reasons we have to put an exclamation mark, because this is not a Python. This is not a Python code, and we'll be showing you guys a little later when we try to install a library on the local environment, which is on your actual computer instead of a Collab. Okay, so is everyone okay with the cdevlib? All right. So now we know how to install a library on Collab. And what about uninstall a library? And you might ask, why do I have to uninstall a library when it's installed? Because there were a lot of times different packages has different requirements. If you want to use specific functions, sometimes the function is not available on the latest versions. Because when you do pip install, it's always the default that is always installed with the latest version. And if there are some specific functions or packages that you have to use that is required to be used on your script, you have to uninstall it. Basically, you have to uninstall the library and then reinstall it with a specific version again. So you won't be using it often, but just in case, I'm gonna teach you how to uninstall a library. So uninstall a library, how do we do that? Let's do divlib, because divlib is not really like a very in-demand popular language, so you guys might not be able to use it. So you just run exclamation mark pip uninstall divlib, and then you run, and then it's loading, and then here it will ask you whether you want to proceed, and you type yes, and then enter, and then it should be running. Oops. And then it's done. So you know how to uninstall, and you know how to install and uninstall a library on Collab. Okay, so some of you might not use Collab. Some of them want to do, I want to do Python on my computer, because sometimes you don't get to access the internet, right? So how do we do this? So I'm going to explain the procedure in a brief sense. So to just go over first. So first you have to install make sure Python is installed on your computer. And then you have to make sure your Python programming path, the path for the Python program is in your computer's environment variables. And then afterwards, you're going to open a terminal. And then you just have to type pip install and then the package name. Okay, I'm amazed if you guys understand what I'm talking about, and especially if you're the first time learner. If you're super confused, you're on the right track. So let's do this. Let's learn this. If you have a Python installed in your library, I would strongly encourage you to do it together, because the reason I emphasize this, because this is the exact step I stuck for 2 weeks when I first learned Python. So now you have to do. So is everyone ready? Good. Awesome. Ooh, I see all the piece. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so we are going to, if you're a Windows user, you can follow me. Rishika is gonna show you the exact same step on Mac. So if you're Windows user, if you're Mac user, wait a bit and you can see how awesome Windows is. I'm kidding. Okay, so you go to start, and then you type command prompt. It's a program that exists for the longest period of time since you install Windows or any other operating system, and you never use it. And we're gonna use it today. Okay, you click command prompt, and then it will show you this famous black screen that all developer love and all non-developer hates. And we're gonna touch this. Okay, so like I said, so this is, so ensure you install and your Python is installed on computer. So Python is installed on my computer. And to check if Python is installed, it's actually very easy. So you have to type Python. You just have to type, you have on the command prompt, you just have to type Python. If this shows up, it means Python is installed in your computer. If not, if you have a computer, if you install your library, if you already install a Python and then it shows something called, oh, Python is not found, the command Python is not found, you have to go to start and then type path, which is system in environment variables. And then you're gonna click environment variables, and then you have to go to path, and then edit, and then make sure your Python program is inside. I'm gonna go through this fast. I'm gonna go through this real quick. Only because not everyone is a Windows user here, and then this is something, it happened to some of you, and and it happens no problem to like some of you. So I'm gonna go through this. If you guys want to go through it again together, feel free to talk to us on the Slack, and then we can work on this together. Okay, so you just make sure Python, like here, Python is on the environment variable, and then afterwards you close it. So after you make sure, you just have to type pip install, let's say Pandas, and then it's collecting Pandas. Make sure you connect the internet. Make sure you're connected to the internet actually. So basically all it does is the exact same thing on what we did on here. So the reason why, go back to the reason why we use exclamation mark, because we call this one as a terminal. When you type the pip install is actually a terminal command. It's not a Python code. What you type here, Collab, the Collab makes everything very easy. Step to the point, like all you have to do is to add the code, and then type code, and then you can start your Python code. At the back end, it's actually a little bit more complicated than that. So that's why if you want to install, majority of the time, you don't really have to use the exclamation mark, only like in the pip install. Like you have to type like that, you have to put the exclamation mark in front. So make sure you are telling on the Collab, then telling the Collab you're not typing a Python code, which is the exact same function here, on the local computer terminal. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, I saw a questions here. What's the difference between what is the difference between Python 2 and Python 3? I'm gonna answer it at the back, so make sure I can kind of run it on time because I think I'm like running a little late. But I'll make sure I answer your questions. Pip install, good question. So what is pip stand for? Sometimes honestly, sometimes people make sometimes like developer make it it does have its own standing. So here, sorry, oops. Okay, if you don't know anything, let's Google it together. Pip is basically actually just a name. It's like NP. If you were in the JavaScript, like I said, it's a NPM. It doesn't really stand. Sometimes it doesn't really stand for anything. So we don't really. Sometimes you just have to. It's not even like acronym. It's like a term you have to remember it. I know it sounds like very forceful to like, oh, like what does it mean? It's really just whoever developed the package management for installing Python. It's named pip. So that one I can't really answer you. Why is it? What is that developer thinking at that time? I think all we have to do is it's like coffee. What is coffee? Like why is coffee? Like in a sense. So you just have to remember it, and like right now, and then once you use it, you're like, okay, pip install. Like you just like it's kind of like stuck in your mind. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna answer your guys' question a little. Okay. Okay, one attendee asks, can you go over the variable install? So basically the variable install is so basically like it's, okay, so you know how we are typing, oh, it's not working. So you know how this like I said, this is a terminal command. Pip here, pip itself is a package manager. Pip here, pip right here is actually a variable. So like how we make sure, so variable is something like you typing something very long, you typing like a very long sentence and you want to have a nickname for it. So this is like the basic concept of a variable. So pip pip install, like here it's like calling the pip, like using a variable pip as a variable, calling the pip package manager to, and then install is like one of the functions that you can use on pip. So I want to show you guys something to make you guys understand a little better. So pip here, I hope it's not too okay. So pip here is, so if you just type pip on the terminal, on the local command prompt on Windows, you can see, if you're Mac user, you can type exact same thing too. It works like this. These type of command works on both on Mac and Windows. So you can see pip is basically a variable called the pip manage of the package, and then you can see like these kind of commands here. That is available for you to use. If you want to go through it, like feel free to explore it yourself. So this is for pip but this is why I call it like pip as a variable on the Collab Notebook. And I can't install Pandas on the terminal. Why? I'm not sure. We can definitely work through this after the webinar, and then we can work in together. And okay, and then next, okay, oops. Okay, so if you guys have any questions on installing the terminal, installing like using pip install on the terminal, I'm gonna go. We can have another session, or we can go through it like after the section, so I can kind of like make sure I have all my materials covered, and then Rishika can show on her Mac side. So save your question, guys. Save your questions, guys, and we are gonna go to, and we're gonna like work through this afterwards. Rishika, you wanna so now Rishika's gonna show you how to do the exact same thing on a MacBook, and I believe it should be it should be a little easier. Okay.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, so let me share my screen. Okay, so on a Mac, just go to your Finder, and in your Finder, go to Applications, and then in Applications, scroll down to Utilities, and this is where you will find your terminal. And then from here, this is what your terminal window should look like, pretty similar to how it looked like on Karen's system. And so for Macintosh systems, it comes pre-installed with Python 2.7, I believe specifically. So you don't necessarily have to manually install Python. But I can just verify that I have it installed. And as you can see, this shows me the exact version of Python. And when you see these 3 arrows pointing to the right, that means I've actually entered the Python development environment. So now I must run either a Python script or some sort of Python code. So now we have verified we have Python. I just want to exit out of there. And so when you see this little squiggly, or it might look a little bit different on your end, that means that you've successfully exited out of Python. And so now we return to the original window. And now we can actually run any pip commands, anything like that. So I'm going to just do, again, pip install pandas. And I already have it installed, but, or maybe it's reinstalling it. But yeah, it'll just basically just show something like this, where it's slowly collecting it and downloading it. And so Python 3 is the latest version of Python, so it's suggested to install that, but you can still run the same sorts of commands and everything on Python 2 as well. So I believe it's a little bit simpler on Macs because you don't really have to go in and change the path variable or anything like that, and it already comes pre-installed with a version of Python. Yeah, I guess that's it for the Mac side. So stop sharing.
Thank you, Rishika. Okay, so I see quite a bit of question on the pip install. Okay, so the reason why we using Collab is because like it's actually pip install like this. It's actually very tricky on do it. It could be very tricky on do it in the local environment, and we do want you guys to learn a little bit more, like learn more than just pip install, especially in this section. We'll go, like I said, we will go over it like together one by one. If you guys want, you guys can open your screen. We can do it after the session. Like, we can help you guys after the session if you guys have a little time, or like we can do it in a different day. You guys help, come talk to us on Slack if you need to run to go after the section. I'm definitely happy to help you guys one by one. To do the pip install successfully on the local environment on Windows. If you guys anyone use Linux, I'm okay with that too. But Mac, I'm not a Mac user, so I have to ask Rishika for that. Okay, so I'm gonna go through the guys. I know it's the struggle on the local environment, and it's a battle. It's been a battle. So let's do something a little easier first. I'm sorry I introduced you guys pip install, but if you want to do Python, this is something we have to go through this together, and we will go through a little bit more detail on that afterwards. So okay, let's go back to the Collab Notebook, guys. let's pull back to the Collab Notebook. Like, yeah, just ease your mind a little bit. It should be. And then we're gonna use, and after all the hassles, not successfully install the library on the Collab Notebook, we're gonna learn how to use a function. We're gonna use the library function. So first of all, let's picture when you go to a library and you want to learn something from a book, you have to grab a book. You have to go to the section and grab a book, right? So to grab the book, the action here is actually importing a library. So import library, just remember, anything before you use the library, before you start using any libraries, like the code you copy from Stack Overflow or code that you learn it from the tutorial, it always asks you to import a library first. So at anything, remember to import library. Importing library is very, very, very straightforward, and everyone can do this. So here we have import Numpy library and name it as NP. So we're gonna do an import Numpy as NP. So you might ask, why do we have to name it as an NP? This is, yes.
Karen, you're not sharing your screen. Just.
Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Sorry.
No worries.
Okay. Everyone's okay? Good? Okay. Okay, so import Numpy as NP. So you might ask, like, why do you have to name the NP? You don't have to, it's optional. It's sometimes when you call a function from a library, you have to type, for example, you have to use a function from NumPy. Most of the time you have to type NumPy dot. Like when you call it on the code, you have to type like NumPy dot. So we want to save that, like you want to make that 5 alphabet into like shorter alphabet, so we have less typo and they remember better. So that's why we call it, like, usually NumPy is called NP for short term. So after you type, you just run it. Okay, so in here you will see nothing comes out. So because it's not supposed to return anything. So when you import the library and then nothing comes out, no news is good news. Seriously, guys, no news is good news. So how do you know? If you want it, like, it will tell you, if you still don't not sure if I import a library properly, successfully, later if you type it on the code, it will show up something, like it would tell you that the library is not imported, there's no such library was found. It will show up like a sentence like this, the error message like this, so you will know later. So but right now, no news is good news. Okay, so we're gonna do a second one. So we're gonna import module. We're gonna import the module random from a NumPy library and name it NP random. So like a library, a lot of packages, a lot of books, a lot of collections. You sometimes want to use specific functions. You want to use like specific section of a library. You don't want to, you want to do, you're looking for something geography related. You will want to go to the history section. So in this case, you can do, so how to use specifically do geography section instead of history section. So you have to do numpy dot random smp random, and then you type. And then, like I said, no news is good news. If you type something wrong, it will tell you there. It will show an error message. Is everyone okay with this? Awesome. You guys are awesome. Okay. So, okay, I missed something. Okay, so the reason, so we're gonna do the check version. So why, also I wanna explore a little bit more why they have to do check version. So a Python library is basically built up because library is open source, mostly it's open source, have elements. So a lot of times people's author of the library actually built on a basic library, a primary library. Numpy would be one of the most popular library that is used because there's a lot of it contains a lot of mathematical functions inside, a lot of equations. So like Numpy is a very popular library to be used to build for other developers to build their libraries based on. So when they develop their library, sometimes they use specific versions of it because they have there's specific functions only available on this specific version. So it's actually very important to check your version because there is a dependency between these libraries. So in order to check the versions, let's say if we want to check NumPy's version, all we have to type is numpy dot underscore version underscore. It will show you, and then you type, whoops. Oh, my bad. Oh, why? Okay, sorry. Like I said, we have to import library. You have to import NumPy every time. Oh, I know why. My bad. Sorry. So, guys, please don't like me. So basically, because on the previous code, I import NumPy as NP. So in here, I have to do NumPy. Because it doesn't the reason it doesn't recognize NumPy is because I name it as NP. My bad. Okay, so you can see now if you type NumPy dot underscore version underscore, this is how you get your current version of NumPy. So what if you want to install, what if you go on the website or you're looking for an awesome library, the perfect library you need to use for your projects. And then there's something that's specific, they require a specific version. Usually it says on the requirement and installation procedure. So you can check it out. So what if I want to install something like a specific version of NumPy? You have to do is !pip install NumPy. Let's say if the version called 1.15. So I want to install 1.15.1. 1.15.0. You don't have to remember the numbers, guys. You only have to do it when a certain specific library you want to use requires this specific version of NumPy. So you can see here, so after you type, so requirement already satisfied. So if you see the previous, line, it says, the NumPy 1.15 is successfully installed. It means you already installed, instead of 18, instead of 1.18, you will have 1.15 right now, 1.15 right now. So that's how we do it. Any questions, guys? Okay, so I'm going to answer Allison's question very quickly. So when you type NumPy and you see np.version, it's actually 2 underscores and the front and the back. So instead of 1, so 2. So you might want to double check, and if you still can't get it, I'll go back to you, and we can figure this out. Okay, so now we know how to check a version. Now we have to import the library. We're gonna do. I'm gonna introduce you guys about help function, which I don't usually hear it often, but it's actually I find it very helpful, and I hope you guys find it very helpful as well. So help functions. So you know how a library is too many functions, too many collections, too many books. You would never know what function is used, what function has what, and how to use the function, where to use, what specific information I can get out from a specific book. So help function here is actually help you to understand, like actually help you to know what parameters of a function that you can plug in and you can make use of that function. So let's try. So we're gonna do pandas this time, and a read CSV functions. This is one of the very popular function to be used. So we have to import pandas, and then afterwards you have to type help pandas dot read CSV. So pandas here is a library, dot read CSV is one of the packages / function to use. So after you type this, and then it will see something like this. And then we scroll down because it's a very big package. So you have to scroll down a bit you have to scroll for a bit to see the whole thing, to do the whole documentation. So right now you can see it's help one function, CSV, and module pandas.io the press. You don't have to worry about that. So this function, this package, you have these parameters on it. So each parameters, it actually explains here in very detail how to use it and what to plug it on. So sometimes, when you want a CSV file, CSV stands for CSV is the common separate. What does the CSV stand for? Let's check. So CSV. Oh, common separate value. My bad. So sometimes like it stands for common separate value, but then sometimes like you use a different symbol. So it use comma here to usually use comma here to separate between the lines, but between the values. But then sometimes it uses a different function. So you can actually change it. Like you actually change it based on the text file you have to import it into from your text file, import it into a data frame through this function. So you guys feel free to take a look on the documentation in most libraries are very, very detailed, and it actually helps you to understand a lot better how to use the function itself. So I would, and if you guys have like time, I would strongly encourage to actually check it out on your most popular, like most in demand, like the function that you use like most of the time, to check it out and understand a little bit better on yourself. Oh, great. So any question here so far? Am I losing everyone? I hope not. Awesome. Yes. Okay, so now finally, now we learn a little bit. We learn how to install a library. We learn how to use a library. We're gonna do some mini exercise with you guys. You don't have to understand every bit of it because we'll be using a library called Datetime. So Datetime itself has a lot of functional structure, so it's a little complicated. So try to learn it with me. Try to do it with me first, get the hang of it. And you want to understand, we can definitely go through this because I know Datetime is a very popular library as well. And I believe like one of the girls from Slack on the WWCode Python actually want to explore a bit about more Datetime because it's such a useful library. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so import Datetime module from the Datetime library. So we're gonna do this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do from Datetime import Datetime. Oops. So this is another way to install that's another way to plug in or like to grab a book, to grab a specific book. So before we do numpy.random as np random. So this is one way to grab a book, to import a specific module in the library. And this is another way I have to go to, sorry, give me one sec. So this is another way to grab a book in another way. Okay, so import that you have from datetime. If you want to know whether you're typing it correctly, you can just run the script. Click the button here, and it should be nothing show up. Like I said, importing library, no news is good news. And afterwards, you're gonna display the current date and time. So we're gonna do what we usually do is we have to name it a variable. One of you was asking a variable. So we're gonna have this variable like current date time. You can call it whatever you want. And then you're gonna type datetime dot now. So this is how you do it. So we're gonna get a datetime dot now. And what we're gonna do is to call the variable to print the variable to print the meaning of the variable. So you guys can try it here. So, and you can see this is the current time of the Collab, because Google Collab is based on like from a certain, it grabs the time. It's not your local time, most of you, majority of you, including me. So because this time is based on the Google server that is supported, that supports the Collab. So if you try it on your local, if you want to try it on your local machine, it should show you or your local time. But I'm just going to show you guys, this is the way to do it. And then we only want to display the day of today, like instead of the time. There's a different function for it actually. So it's just the name current date. And you can do datetime dot date today. Let's see if it works. And then print current date. And then it shows you wrong. The reason it shows you wrong is because I have to, sorry, give me 1 second. From import, because datetime has a specific, sorry. So you just have to type this line actually to make it work. And the reason, okay, so you can see this one is basically, this line is basically same as this line. So I'm actually doing it repetitively here. So basically I'm calling one of the books from a section to use, like to grab a specific knowledge. And then I'm gonna call another book from the same section. To grab another function. In fact, like it's actually, I can just grab 2 books at the same time. I can just grab, like think of, if I can do, if you want to do here import datetime, you can basically grab all the books from the sections instead of doing like line by line like this. So you can do it in a different way. There's no right or wrong. So if you want to save time, then you can just import datetime. But if you want a specific version, specific function, I just want to show you guys that you can actually plug in specific function, a specific module from a library. That's why I'm like kind of do it like repetitively on this step, in this step. So you can see, so the first one is the print, the first one is the datetime, and then this is your current date. Okay. And then finally, what we're gonna do is print the current datetime in the 12 hours format. So you can see this is a 24 hours format, right? So all you have to do is let's do print dot datetime dot now, and then use a function called shift time, like basically string format time, and then type IMP. and then you run. And then it shows you 12:56 a.m. If any of you wondering what the heck is this, is you can actually look up on the, if you type on Google daytime library, and then like how a date and time can be formatted, it should show you, it has the plenty of information how you can actually shape your own time, and like the known time, and like however specific format you want. So if you want to do this, if you don't have to remember this, I'm just showing you guys this, there's function here like we can do. So we just have to basically you just have to Google it, and then we find out. Like honestly, we all Google every time, and anything I don't know, we just Google it. Like just find it on Google, and it should tell you the correct instruction how to do it. Okay. So we are good. I know we're running out of time. So we are okay. We are good to go. So let's wrap up, and then I'll answer the question. So today, like I said, we introduced the Python library. We struggle a bit with the pip install, not successfully install it on the Collab, and then struggle a bit on the local environment, which we can go through later. And then we learn how to use a Python library. We can check functions, we know how to import it, and we know how to use the help functions on it. And then next section, we'll be talking about data types, which is we're gonna talk about why there are different types of structures like string and integer, and in a programming language in general. Thank you. I will hand back to Rishika.
All right. So I don't believe there's any unanswered questions in the Q&A as of now, but please feel free to drop any. There's one, I'm looking for some good resources to self-teach Python. Do you have any in mind, Karen? I can also recommend it.
I think so. I think we all, me, Rishika, and Stephanie really like something, a book called Automate the Boring Stuff. Automate the Boring Stuff with Python. So this is a very good book to teach yourself to learn Python. It will teach you the fundamental and know how to like write the function. So you can that would be definitely the with one of the book that we would suggest to do it.
Okay. And then I think there was a question about the code itself. The X in the parentheses. I think it might be something that was in the mini exercise. Maybe we should pull that up again.
Yep. Which one it is?
Let's see.
Okay, Rana, maybe we can show it after the, if you want to stay a bit, we can actually share your screen. We can show, we can work on this together. Okay, sorry, I have like one more question. So from the very beginning, what is the difference between Python 2 and Python 3? So Python 2 and Python 3 is think of it as like a library. So you know how how OS, like you know, like your OS, like your operating system always getting upgraded and always like getting functions. So basically Python 2 to Python 3 is to get a lot of functionality, like a better version and better make use of it. So it's like a library. It's basically a Numpy like 1.15 versus 1.18. So majority of the users is using Python 3 right now. So the Python 2, I believe, has retired since like this January the 1st, this year. So if you guys, most of you guys will be learning Python 3 instead. So, but like if you want to like find the difference, usually the library structure and as far as I know, how to print a function, how to print a variable, it will be a little different, but that's something it is relatively minor. So yeah, so that is basically a Python 3 is literally meaning the upgrade version of Python 2. I hope that answers your questions. Yep. Back to you, Rishika.
Okay. And then there's another, I guess, an error someone faced. It's in an open question, and I believe that can be fixed with if you include that user option at the end of the command. So if you were to just, instead of doing pip install pandas, I would try pip install pandas and then the user option with the 2 dashes in front, or you can also try pip3 install with the user option, and hopefully that should resolve the issue. And I'm trying to see in the chat if there's any other questions. Let's see. Okay, I see there's a question about something disappearing. I'm not sure if that's with the Collab Notebook or something else, perhaps.
If there's something, guys, if there's something like specific, like on your local computer you can run, I was trying to suggest, like, because I'm so sorry I ran over time. So I think we'll end the section first because we're also recording it right now, and afterwards we're gonna stay here with you guys, and then we're gonna let you guys share the screen and then we can work it out.
Yeah, and also if you are already part of our Slack community, we also have a Slack channel dedicated to the study group. So if any issues come up, if you're not able to stay on after, feel free to drop those questions in that channel or reach out to Karen or myself directly on Slack and we can answer any questions. All right, so I guess we'll formally end for today's session. And if anyone has any remaining questions, please feel free to stay on. Thank you everyone for joining. Great job, Karen, a wonderful session.
Thank you. I hope you guys not confused too much. Let's stick together. Let's struggle together. Don't leave. Don't leave Python yet.
Thank you everyone for joining and coding with us, along with us. And yeah, I guess that's it for today's session. Thank you so much.
Bye guys.
Bye-bye.